All right, welcome back to Nortman Reviews, everyone. I am just picking right back up, looking at Scott Pilgrim and the Infinite Sadness. We're about halfway through the book. A bunch of stuff is going on with Scott and his ex here, Envy, and she's dating Ramona's ex, Todd, who he has to fight to start dating Ramona. It's all very weird and complicated. Go watch the other videos or read the book. So they're at a venue. It looks like they're getting ready. This is the night that they're gonna start. Yeah, they're gonna have the big concert. So let's see. This is just fucking so random. And these two girls, hey, aren't you Scott Pilgrim? No, I don't know. And it just says nubile Asian teens. Okay, thanks. And here you got Wallace, his gay roommate, low moral fiber, Stacy, Scott's kid sister, raring to go, and Michael Como knows everyone, including you. He's like, why are you guys here so early? He's looking at a watch that doesn't even exist. Are you going to make her look bad? His sister's asking. His sister doesn't like her either. Is your show going to rock Ultimate? You better believe our show is going to rock Ultimate. And he just kind of, nope, okay. And then trudges off. He's had a rough couple of days. So is your mom, Wells. And then there's some more just girls back here. Sandra, kind of a ditz. Monique, kind of a bitch, it just says. And they're talking to Ramona about whatever. Scott and her go walking off. They go to the bar. They get a couple of drinks. Keep the change, he says to the bartender. You're so kind, just says sarcasm right there. Scott, he's in just a weird place with everything that's going on with his ex being around. He's like just downing the drink. Then you got Joseph, Holly's gay roommate, and then you got Holly works at a video store with Kim. So they come and they say hi. And there's this other band that's playing. It's the Boys in Crash instead of Crash and the Boys that were in the first book. They changed around. Now they're in these weird outfits for whatever reason. Scott takes a breather out in the back, and there's Envy. She's out there smoking, and she says, hey, Scott. She's like, I have an idea. I thought maybe we could talk like normal people, she says, like it used to be. And he says, how can I talk to you like a normal person? Look at you. And he's like checking her out in this dress. He said, yeah, my stylist went overboard a little bit, and she's going to change into a different outfit for the show. But then it has like this diagram of what she's wearing. Solid gold arm thing, expensively skanky dress, shiny stockings, not cheap, $900 boots, total cost of outfit, $50 million. He's like, okay, well, it's getting late, you should probably go and get changed. She's like, so you don't want to talk like normal people? Her name's Envy, that's her nickname, but her real name is Natalie, but no one calls her that. But Scott right here says, Nat? And there's some silence, and then she responds to that name, yes. Did we ever talk like normal people? Yes. So she's like, that's the last time you'll get away with calling me that, Pilgrim. She walks away and flicks her cigarette. So in the alleyway, she had walked by this person as Knives, who's still there, just like being all sad. And Scott notices her, and he's like, ugh, thinks, looks, scratches his head, looks back. He's kind of been wanting to avoid Knives because they were in a relationship and it's awkward for him. But he's like, she's feeling bad. I should go say hi. So they go back inside, and Crash and the boys are still like playing music somehow with like no instruments. And Ramona and Kim are chit-chatting about Kim and Scott's relationship. It's all very like goddamn soap opera-ish, right? Then everyone notices something, and they see in the corner Todd and the drummer, I forget her name, Lynette, they're like making out. And they're like, oh, gross. So it goes back to Scott and Knives, and they're talking about their relationship and confusion and heartbreak. And he was trying to tell her, like, it wasn't right us being together. I didn't treat you right. But she's still like, does that mean we can get back together? He's like, no. So Scott's just trying to, like, make her feel better, try to convince her that, or make her realize that he wasn't good for her. They're not good together. And he's like, it's time to go. She's like, okay, I'm going to go home. So she leaves and she's walking away. This is kind of funny. She's walking away. Scott's getting up. And she comes back out. And she's like, Scott? Yes? I totally love you. She just like does this weird like this peace sign. It's just funny. And you can kind of see like the anime or manga influence there. All right, so they're just waiting for this other band to finish, and they're gonna go get ready backstage, and then there's Envy and Ramona. They bump into each other at the bar, and it says Envy Adams already here in her new outfit. So they start talking about each other and how they're not too dissimilar, and the people they like to date, Todd and Scott. But she Envy like starts talking to her like she knows some stuff about Ramona, where she comes from. And this starts to piss Ramona off. And then Ramona, mad at her, she calls her Natalie, which pisses off Envy here. And Ramona has this bag. It's a subspace suitcase, storage capacity unknown. And out of it, she pulls this fucking hammer. Large hammer, +2 against girls. So they're going to get it on. So they're going to start fighting. She just pulls out a fucking huge hammer and is going to bash her goddamn brains in. So she springs it up, but Envy kicks at it, and they clash. So it's all like regular shit, regular like relationship stuff, but suddenly like they start fighting out of nowhere with a hammer and stuff. Oh, dude, Envy's fighting some hammer chick. Like Envy is a celebrity, everyone loves her. So all the crowd is like rooting for Envy. More high kicks, they say. Pull her hair and stuff. Make out. What the hell is this? Ramona says. Why are they all rooting for you when you're obviously a huge bitch? You're a huge bitch. And she says, I'm famous and hot. Woo! And you're trying to hit me with a gigantic hammer? She's like, I guess that's not very sporting. I just like this hammer. You suck. Hammers suck. People are just still yelling at her. But Wallace, he's on Ramona's side. Break her face, Ramona. Break her horsey old face. And that kind of sets Envy back like, wait, what? So she hits her with a hammer, goes flying, lands against the wall, drops down. As they're flying, Wallace is still just yelling out random shit. Kicks at her. Wallace is yelling. It's like, Envy's all, look, she's just a pretty boy. I'm not a boy. She gets hit by the hammer. She's easily distracted, Ramona. She's only got a little brain. Henry's like, keep hiding behind your precious little Wallace. And she says, what makes you think I'm hiding behind him? And Wallace is like in her way. Oh, sorry, am I in the way? Wait, where are you going? As he's running off. Gotta pee, BRB, but I'm enjoying your company. Andy kicks her in the face. Enjoy this. Ramona goes flying, falls to the ground. She picks up the hammer. She's like, this thing is actually pretty heavy. I'm mildly impressed. Out of nowhere, before like Envy can like bash her in with a hammer, Knives Chow, 17 years old, she comes zooming in, kicks it out of her hand, but splats against the wall. And even though like Knives and Ramona fought last time, and now Knives is helping her, she's like, I only want his happiness. And then out of nowhere, Sex Bob-omb comes out. We are Sex Bob-omb. We are here to make you think about death and get sad and stuff. They said that line in the movie. There's Steven Stills, Man in Black, Kim Pine, Gothic Lolita, and Scott Pilgrim, guy in a suit purchased at Value Village. I'm like, what are they wearing? And Scott sees what's going on with Envy with a hammer, and he kind of has this like weird realization moment of clarity down here. Oh, this is funny. Steven just says like, go play drums, go on. I know, shut up. He's telling Kim back there. Anyway, moment of clarity, flashback. And Envy and Scott, and like, again, the time jumps go back and forth, right? Like, this is like early in their relationship. Scott's like singing a song. She's like, what is this? Is this for the band? It's like, no, it's for you. I wrote you a song. He's trying to be romantic. And there's a weird pause. And she's like, why? And then when they're making out, the phone is ringing and the answering machine picks up and they hear the message, and it's a guy who's just thinking about you, thought I'd try calling, just some random guy. She's like, it's this guy Jacob, he calls sometimes. Did you used to date him or something, he asks? Sort of, not really. Are you cheating on me? So I think Scott is just like realizing, like, even though he was in love and obsessed with Envy, he's starting to realize all the times that she was like mean or like she was doing something bad to him. And then again, it jumps in time, and they're talking about like they're gonna sign a contract, and he doesn't want to sign it. She's like, okay, sure, see you later then. He's like, but this is my band. I started it. You just joined it. As founder, I veto the stupid contract. It's like, well, you don't get to have a vote now. Like, it's out of your hands. And she's like, why don't you go get a haircut somewhere, okay? Just go away. And then he's like, I started this band to meet chicks and have fun. Why did it turn into a band? Did I just meet the wrong chick? So they're having like arguments down here. And then Steven, later, time jump, Steven's asking Scott, he's like, do you remember the fight you had on New Year's? With who? With Envy. You got really drunk. He's like, I don't drink. Oh, right. He's like, this was a fight? He says, you don't remember it at all? And then on New Year's Eve, it shows how Scott did get a haircut. He's like, I got a haircut, see? And Envy just says, get out of my life, Scott. So he just kind of remembered all these, like, bad times with her, and that kind of realizes what kind of a person she actually is. And he realizes, like Envy's going to kill, like, Knives and Ramona. He's going to smush them. Envy's crazy. She broke my heart. I got to do something, but what can I do? He's like, yeah, I know. I got to believe. So he starts believing. And as soon as they're about to count in their song, Scott goes jumping up. And I think I skipped past a moment back here when Scott was about to tell Ramona about Envy and like her weakness, but she didn't want to hear about it. But here it is. So he's jumping, he lands behind her, and he brings his finger and he starts like, he pokes her in the back of the knee. And she gets this kind of look on her face, and she gets weak in the knees, and she flops over, kind of curls up. Thanks for the save. Nice suit. So he's like, yeah, like I was saying last night, her weak point's the back of her knees. How does that work? Well, whenever we were making out, I would... Okay, stop right there. This they did in the movie, but it was with Ramona and her ex that isn't in the books yet, Roxy. So they changed that up for the movie. Envy's all mad. He's like, you'll pay for this. Kill them, Todd. And they're like, Todd, he's not even around. And this is where Ramona yells at her, Todd's cheating on you with your drummer, you stupid hoe. He's a creep and you're a bitch. You deserve each other. He's like, that's bull. Todd loves me. He'll love me forever. He's sensitive, caring, thoughtful, talented, kind, and pure-hearted. We've been best friends since we were 11. So it goes into a flashback of Envy and Todd's relationship. And this, like, they were... It says, like, it's kind of a story tale. Once upon a time, there was a boy and a girl, blah, blah, blah. This was before Envy had met Scott. Um, and let's see. But it was not to last. One day, the boy and his family moved away to a distant land of mountains and dairy cows. The girl grew up alone and never found another she could truly love, though she tried her hardest. I think that's when she hooked up with Scott. And then at last, when all seemed lost, the boy returned. Todd came back. Promising they would never again part, the boy displayed his affection in a most remarkable and unprecedented fashion. So he tells Envy to look up. He flies up in the sky, goes to the moon, like crashes down into it, and does the exact same thing that he did with Ramona back here somewhere in a flashback, right? And then she's like, and that's how I know he truly loves me and will always be together forever and ever. And everyone's just kind of silent. And Ramona's like, it gives me the tiniest bit of pleasure to say this, but the thing with the moon, when we were in high school, Todd did the exact same thing for me. And he did it for me first. Kind of makes sense. And she kind of realizes, Envy realizes, is that why there are two holes in the moon? Yeah. And she's like, oh God. So then Todd came back. He comes walking out of nowhere. He's got these underwear on his head. He's zipping up his pants. She sees him and he stops. Blink, blink. Not knowing what's going on. And then behind him, the drummer, Linnell, bumps into him. They're silent. Everyone's seeing. Everyone realizes what they just did. So what I miss? And becomes fucking freaking out on him. Whose are they? The panties on your head. And the drummer's like, how did that happen? That's crazy. Right under my nose this whole time. You're so fired. And she takes the hammer, about to hit this drummer. She says, whatever, sayonara, suckers. She's teleporting. Envy, she's teleporting. She can try. And as she teleports away, she hits the arm and slices her arm off. Her bionic arm. And then Envy's still coming at Todd. She's pissed at him, so she goes at him with a hammer, but he blocks her with his psychic powers. He's like, I won't fight you, Envy. And he throws the hammer to the side. She's just pissed off. She's enraged, and he's trying to no, it meant nothing. You're my girl. And he's trying to comfort her and console her, holds her close. He's like, you're my girl. Oh, Todd, let's both be girls. Knees him in the nuts right there. Todd's weak point is his nuts? That's gotta hurt. So he activates his powers there, attacks Envy, flings her across the room. She crashes onto the stage. There's silence as everyone just watches what he did to her. He's like, that's right, I'm not afraid to hit a girl. I'm a rock star, losers. Chapter 18, Destroy All Vegans. Scott hits him with his bass. He says, I think it's time to end this volume. And you're going down, Pilgrim, vegan style. So they have a bass battle fight. Incredible bass solo. They did this was a kind of cool moment in the movie. The music was nice and cool and good. I actually know how to play bass. So it knocks Scott back. He goes skidding, hits against the wall. Ramona's trying to check on Envy, and she's like, don't touch me. I hate you. Envy's whole life just kind of came crashing down. There's the boys in Crash, and they come to Scott's aid. And they have these weird powers, and they block Todd's psychic attack. We can turn it back on him. Get ready to make your move, Pilgrim. Now! So Scott goes jumping forward. It's no good. His base power is too powerful. Scott punches at him, but again, no effect. And he gets deflected back from the vegan powers. And it looks like there's no stopping Todd. And Scott's like, I can't even get near him. I need some kind of last minute, poorly set up Deus Machina. That's funny, he says that. Then out of nowhere, these two guys come popping up from behind the bar and say, freeze! Vegan police! Todd Ingram, you're under arrest for veganity violation. What'd I do? What authority do you represent? You can't do this. You can't prove anything. I'm a rock star. Todd's freaking out. We have it on record that at 12:27 this afternoon, you did knowingly consume a restricted food item. Gelato, bitch. It wasn't me. That was earlier. They were having lunch and for dessert. Hang on. Are you saying gelato isn't vegan? It contains milk and eggs, man. And Envy's like, it sounds delicious. Is chicken parmesan vegan? Is it? This guy asked the vegan. I'm not sure. Isn't parmesan like a rodent or something? So the rules are simple, Todd. No vegan diet, no vegan powers, bitch. It's the veganizing ray. I can dodge this, but he couldn't. They zap him with they just have like a finger and thumb. Don't even have a ray gun or anything. And like his hair sags down. And his power is like drained from him. And Scott goes up and he like reaches his head back as he's like, no! And Scott just headbutts him. And it disintegrates Todd. He just like gets destroyed. All these coins are flying everywhere. And something's coming out of it. Something's appearing. This isn't over. It's bing. It's this head of Scott. And it's just floating there. I think it's an extra life. It's an extra life. It's scaring me. So he takes it and he gets a 1-up. Just like you would in the video games, right? Oh, am I off page? Sorry. Gets a 1-up. Let's see. Envy, she's just like, you headbutted my best friend so hard he burst Scott. So she's not doing good. And then, like, there's still a show to play. There's hundreds of people there to come see somebody, people play music. So Sex Bob-omb, they get up on stage and they have their show. So then it goes back at the beginning, like the beginning of a book. There's a documentary. There's the two nubile Asian girls. There's Kim and Monique, Como, and I don't know who these are. There's Holly and her gay roommate. There's the bartender who still wants the camera out of her face. And then there's this guy, randomly, and they ask, any thoughts on tonight's events? And he says, no comment. In the shadows. Scott kind of noticed. And this guy is just drinking his drink, and he walks out just silently. And what's up with this guy, right? So now, chapter 18a, Envy's like getting into a cab. She's ready to go home. And Scott's there with her. So are Ramona and Wallace. He's like, I'm sorry about stuff. I know, me too, she says. He says, that used to be mine, the sweater. Oh, I guess I stole it. You want it back? Should I take it off? She's like, no, as long as you're still using it, right? So they're holding it, like they're looking at each other in silence. He kind of wants to like reach out to her, but he doesn't. He drops his hand, and then it's awkward, it says here. All right, I'm done. Okay. She gets in, goes to the airport, and says, see you next time. And she drives off. I guess that's it. I was kind of hoping for some kind of closure or, a hug or something. I would have settled for, I like your haircut, Scott. Walt's like, good riddance to bad rubbish, I always say. And Ramona says, let Scott have a slightly tragic moment. And he's like, he's like, okay, I'm all good. Time for lunch. The world loves you, Scott. Sun's coming out. 4 evil ex-boyfriends left, and you'll officially be my girlfriend. 3 or 4 exes, yeah. Or maybe 5. Like, I don't think the writer knew, like, how he was going to do, how many there was going to be or whatever. So he kept it very ambiguous. He says, piece of cake. Here's to the future. And the next book is going to be in the summer. So it goes through, like, a year. Like, it was in winter, now it was in spring, now it's going to be summer. So then it just has some other artists do, like, bonus stories. This one is Scott's fighting King Hippo from Punch-Out. A couple of pinups. Another little story. And a recap of volumes 1 and 2 with all the characters. So there you go. There's another volume down the drain. This was kind of a bigger one, longer one. I really enjoyed this book. it's funny. There's an emotional like understory to it, besides just like the fighting the exes and stuff, and Scott having to deal with like his past relationships and getting over that kind of stuff. A lot of us have been in these kind of situations, so I think like Scott Pilgrim is a very relatable character, as are most of the characters in this. So especially when you're like in your 20s and you're just like don't have a lot of responsibilities with children and important jobs and all that kind of stuff. So good times. So thank you for watching. This is Scott Pilgrim Volume 3. Hit that like button. Tap it like you would a start button on a video game or something, right? Thank you for watching. And as always, I will see you in the next video.